Okay, this is a different bike than the one we've been working on. This is also a T120. I think about a 66 as I recall. And this one did have the engine split, put back together. Crankshaft was frozen up. The left connecting rod was frozen completely. So I split the engines, sent the crankshaft off to have it ground down 10 under, and then we put it back together with new bearings and bushings and everything, and it's sort of sweet. Got nice smooth action here. And we've got the top end on and the engine back in the bike, and it had been sitting off to the side while we had some head work done by the machinist, and we just got the head back. And now we're going to put this head on because the other bike that we've been working on has its head at the machinist now, having some work done to repair some stripped bolts. The bolts that hold the rocker boxes on were stripped, so we're having them drilled and threaded and inserts put into it, and we'll get that head back probably in a week or so. So in the meantime, we're going to put the head back on this bike. So it's just sitting here waiting, and Kevin is over here at this moment in time putting the valve springs into the head. Let's take a look at that. Smile, Kevin. Okay.
Let the apprentice deal with the little things that get lost.
Yeah, let the apprentice work with all the little things that go spring. So we're loading the valves and valve springs in that head right now. And in the meantime, we've got everything laid out here. That way we can count everything, make sure we got all the bits and pieces. And I just got finished cleaning up the push rod tubes and getting the new seals all ready to go on. And over here, I'll show you how I have the bottom seals in place at the bottom of the push rod on top of the valve lifters. So they're in their little cup, and they got a nice coating of anaerobic sealer on them. And when I drop these tubes down, I'll put a dab of anaerobic sealer on the bottom of each tube. So this surface here will have a little coat of sealer when I drop it on. And then once those are on, and Kevin quits fooling around with the head, we will drop it on. I'll take another video to show you how it looks. Okay. Okay. We're gonna drop the head on. All set up here. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna try to get this on gently, locating the push rod tubes because they have to clear the there we go. Okay, great, it's in place. And looking through here, we got a very slight gap. I don't know if you can see it, but it's looks like a very compressible gap between the head and the jug. So that's good. We're now going to toss in the bolts, and I'll show you another trick in just a minute. Okay. Okay, the head is on lightly. The bolts are just finger tight, holding it in place. The gaskets are in place, and the push rods are in place, and you have to get them on the valve lifters at the bottom. So you have to make sure that they're on and smooth, no roughness when you turn them. Nice and smooth. That means they're sitting on top of the valve lifters. So, and I think I just pulled that one off just by touching it. Nope, it's good. Okay, so now we're going to drop the rocker boxes on top. The head's on lightly, the rocker box is on lightly. I undid the adjusters all the way so that when I drop this on to the head with the push rods in place, as they are over here, the rockers would fall into the push rods naturally, and then we'll tighten these down once we get it bolted down a little bit tighter. Now we're going to drop the head bolts on, and this is a problem. This is what happens. This head bolt on this side will go in just fine. There's plenty of clearance. And I'll do the typical clearance. This can just drop right in, okay? Like so, and it'll go right in. The other side, this bolt conflicts with the frame. I mean, it's right up against the frame. So the trick is, Kevin's going to drop the bolt on there and let the washer down, and then I'm going to lift this up just to go ahead and show the conflict there, how it hits, see? So now if I just lift this box up a little bit, he can clear it just beautifully, drop it down, and now I can do this half with no conflict over here, and other than this wire. And the bolts go in without messing up the frame, without any trauma, and that gets the center head bolts in place so we can tighten them all down at the same time very nicely. So the trick is to lift the rocker box up a little bit, put the other bolt in from the other side at a slight angle, and it'll fall right in without bumping up against the frame. So we're going to do the rear box now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the motor over until these two are all the way down as far as they'll go equally. Then we'll drop the rocker box on that one. Okay, so that's where we are. Okay, the head is on and torqued. Large bolts torqued to 18 pounds. Center bolt torqued to 15 pounds. These little guys torqued to 10 pounds. And these three guys up underneath the front, hand tight, about as tight as you can get them without stripping them, which takes a little bit of experience. So it looks good, feels good, fondles good. I'll try to show you the valve action. I've just screwed the adjusters down so that they're snug all the way around. I haven't gapped them yet, but you'll see that all four tappets work. As I turn the rear wheel, sorry to jiggle this. See the tappet moving? I'm turning the rear wheel with the bike in 4th gear. And there goes that one, there goes this one. So they're working. Can't really reach all the way. I do this by feel, but these are working also. Now that the head is torqued down, I will set the valve clearance at 2 thousandths on the intake and 4 thousandths on the exhaust. I make them a nice loose, sloppy 2 and 4 because the valves tend to tighten up as the valves work their way into the valve seats. Valve lifters or valve adjusters don't get loose, they get tight. So I usually give it a nice loose 2 and a nice loose 4 on the valves when I put an engine together the first time. So that's where we are. And I'm going to adjust the valves. I'm going to put the head steadies on, hang the carburetors, and that'll probably be it for the day. Well, let's try out my new fancy dancy iPhone holder tripod. It seems to be focused right on the top dead center tool. I'll show you how that works. The tool screws in back here and has a plunger. There are two depressions in the crankshaft that as you spin the rear wheel with the motorcycle in 4th gear, you'll feel them click as they go by. Watch my finger. Pull my finger. Watch my finger. There. That was the first depression. That's actually full advance. That's what you use when you're setting the initial ignition timing. The next depression right after that, just barely after that, that's top dead center. At this point in time, we can adjust one set of the tappets. So with the engine at top dead center, now I'm going to adjust the tappets on either the left or right side, depending on where the engine is. So let's just see. These seem to be depressed, too tight. These, yeah, I can loosen these. So you can see this moving. So this one can be set to 2, and this one over here will be set to 4, and then I'll rotate the engine and do the tappets on this left side. There. Now you can see that I have movement in both tappets, and I'll use feeler gauges to set these to 2 and 4. Sorry, making the camera move. All right, so that's setting it at top dead center, and I'm going to get ready to do the tappets. All right, I adjusted the valves on the other side. I rotated the engine so it's at top dead center again, with this side at top dead center. And I'll show you that I've got the number 2 2000s feeler gauge in there, and the 4000s in this side. They're set to just snug. I can move them both, but turn this one just a little bit looser, and now I can move it so that I've got a nice loose 2000s. Both of them. Then you hold it, turn the locking nuts down, all the way. Nope, I had the right side. Okay. While holding it, tighten it, and you should still be able to move the feeler gauge, and I can. So I have a nice sloppy 2 there. And I'll go over here and do the same thing over here. Okay. Nice loose 4 there. And then you just listen to the click. And after a while, you can say to yourself, I'm familiar with that. And so they're ready to go. I'm going to put the caps on.